Yo, Deeds, Oren here. We are doing a Monday Night Football live stream where the Cleveland Browns are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And whichever team wins this game will be my second favorite team that I root for this year. Well, to be more specific, right now the Pittsburgh Steelers are my second favorite team. But if the Cleveland Browns impress me enough or they blow out the Steelers in this game, then I will switch to the Cleveland Browns to be my second favorite team. And get a little bit closer here. And I'm just waiting for my tablet and the NFL Plus app to get the game going. So you know how it tends to be a struggle for me. I have to click on the game at the exact correct time to get the game and not like the preview thing for it. So here's hoping I get it this time. Otherwise, I just have to close that out of the app and re-enter it, kind of like refreshing a page, but you're using an app. And I'm really excited for this game because I think both teams kind of play similar to the Detroit Lions, try to build their teams in those same ways. And Cleveland Browns, they do a really good job with their step one. They built and they have a really good offensive line as well as a really good running back. And that's kind of what you want to be able to set up things for your wide receivers. And your wide receivers also complement the other way too by stretching out the field for the running backs. And, they can run down the clock at specific points in the game when you need them to. And Cleveland has Deshaun Watson, who some people think is a shell of his former self after his what allegedly happened with all those his legal situations and missing like a season and a half because of that and injuries and all that sort of stuff. But he seems to be back and seems to be the guy that they're paying big bucks for. And then I hear Cleveland's defense is really good too. I haven't been exposed to the Cleveland Browns so much to know enough about like how good they are on defense. But one thing I do know is that Jim Schwartz, former Detroit Lions head coach, is their defensive coordinator. So that kind of tells me that and everywhere he goes, the defense always seems to improve and get better. And especially with the defensive linemen, because he does some funky schemes with them that help give them an advantage. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And meanwhile, Pittsburgh is always that traditional, old school, gritty type of team that the Lions are going for and are pretty much at that point. Just got to see success. And, they got Kenny Pickett in the sophomore year. They played the top defense in the league last week, and they got beat pretty bad. But they could bounce back very easily in this game. So the AFC and the AFC North has a lot of good teams, and it could very well be a bloodbath, and the Steelers could be in the middle of it, and they could be the dark horse team. They have Najee Harris, who's looks like he could be a good running back. George Pickens could really step up and have a huge year, and TJ Watt in the defense, one of the best defensive players in the league, some would say. And it's still doing the pregame thing. Hang on here. I don't have an ESPN live stream up right now, so I don't know if the game has started yet. It should start by now. Nope, I've seen that before. Yep. So I like to thank the people who run the NFL app, tend to watch my live streams and as sort of and use my trial and error to improve the experience for them. So I guess one complaint I would have so far is the fact that once the game starts, when it's supposed to be scheduled to be starting, that it switches from the preview thing that they have to when the actual game starts, instead of me having to try to click out, click again, close the app and reopen the app and that sort of thing. So hopefully they can improve that. All right. All right, I got the game. I forgot to put my shoot. I might set up the earbuds later, but I see Deshaun Watson in a huddle. Wait a minute. Pittsburgh already has a touchdown. What happened? Okay, I missed something significant. I apologize. But Cleveland, there's like 14 minutes left in the first quarter, and Pittsburgh already has a touchdown. I'm going to have to investigate this. But for the moment, it's 14-12 left, and 2nd and 7. Deshaun Watson drops back to pass, dumps off. I hear Joe Buck's voice. Gosh darn it. I do not like that announcer. Has a lot of bias about stuff. All right. They're talking about Amari Cooper. Was he the guy they traded for from the Jets? It is 3rd and 1. Watson in shotgun. Scrambles to his right. Dumps it off. 1st down and more to number 2. Amari Cooper. Secondary Tillman's on the field. He's number 19. He was somebody I thought the Lions might draft. He's good at contested catches. "13 minutes. Pitch to Chubb. He gets tackled from behind, gains about 5. All right, so I know what happened. On literally the very first play of the game, Cleveland had the ball first. Deshaun Watson passed short, intended for Bryant. It was intercepted by Highsmith at the Cleveland 30. Highsmith for 30 yards, touchdown. So Deshaun Watson threw a pick 6 to open this game. Wow, I wish I would have seen that. They just got another 1st down on a short pass. So Cleveland looks like they're moving the ball right now. Bell on that catch, number 18, Bell. So aside from the pick 6, I guess Deshaun Watson looks like he's off to a decent start. Quick pass to the left. Peoples-Jones. It's a wide receiver. He's got 2 last names hyphenated. It's number 11. I heard rumors about that wide receiver, Peoples-Jones, being on the trading back. They're talking about Cleveland doing RPO. Second and 3rd on the 32-yard line. Fake pass. Watson scrambles up the middle, down to the left. He gets the 1st down, and he gets tripped up and goes out of bounds. Dual threat quarterback mobile-ing it up. The one good thing Deshaun Watson did, in my opinion, was beat the Lions on Thanksgiving bad enough to where the Lions fired Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, both of whom had to go for the Lions. It's 1st and 10 at the – I can't tell where they're at. Okay, 27. Hand it off up the middle. Gain of about 2. Down to the 25. While I'm thinking about the Lions, I want to address a rumor that's going on out there about how Seattle didn't start either of their tackles, yet the Lions defensive line couldn't do anything about him. What people don't seem to understand is Pete Carroll is not a dummy. So he compensated for the lack of his starting tackles. And credit to, I forgot his name at the moment. He's another YouTuber. But they hand off to Chubb up the middle, and he fights his way to a first down. But anyway, Seattle overcompensated by running 3 tight end sets. So the offensive tackles, had help from the tight ends blocking the edge rushers like Hutchinson and the double teaming there. So that's a big factor into why the Lions' defensive line wasn't as up to the standards that everybody thought. Like, no sacks or anything, but still, though, there were times when they were putting pressure on Geno Smith. They were forcing him to run around often. So, but the rest is history. But I don't want to put as much blame on the defensive line that everybody is saying because the Seahawks didn't have their tackles. It's because the Seahawks used 3 tight ends to help block the defensive line to overcompensate. Now I'm worried about the Lions and the injuries specifically. Oh, my thing just froze. They handed the ball off, and then it froze. But, yeah, the injuries that they have concerned me. Houston is going to be out for at least for half the season, it sounds like. Montgomery, I guess, has a high bruise that somebody said he might be out for a couple of weeks. But then I read a report from somewhere on The Athletic or whatever, and I don't know what happened just there. But now it's 3rd and 8 on the 25-yard line. Deshaun Washington goes up to pass. Batted away by the Pittsburgh cornerback, number 24. Intended for Elijah Moore. So now it's 4th down. Anyways, I heard about a report where the NFL is going to try to sue the NFL Players Association because I guess all the running backs are conspiring to pretend to be injured because they're not happy with not getting the big contracts that they want. That was a good pass breakup by Pittsburgh there. Now they're going for a 43-yard field goal attempt. Kick us up, and it is good. Justin Hopkins. Hopefully, Cleveland is content with its kicking situation now because I know they've had problems with the kickers in the past. They drafted Cade York a couple of years ago, and they already had to cut him because he didn't do too well. So, I mean, putting a lot of pressure on a guy when you draft them in the 4th round when they're typically taken in the 7th round. So, those things can happen. But yeah, I think it is interesting how. Did anybody else see this report of what's going on with the running backs pretending to be injured as a way to, I guess, protest their market for the salaries that they're having and everything? I just hope that Montgomery isn't a part of that because the Lions really need him, and I depend on him and everything. But he was another one that had injury concerns. I don't know anything about Vaitai, the right guard, if he'll be back. Hopefully he is. Taylor Decker, hopefully he comes back too. And there were a couple other minor injuries on defensive secondary plays, but it sounds like they're all right. Ford Field has a new type of turf or a new type of grass or whatever it is that they have out there that's supposed to be better than what they've had in the past, which in my opinion had a factor in a lot of the injuries that tends to happen during the games on Ford Field. So I hope that wasn't a factor, but if more injuries on Ford Field happen because of that sort of stuff, then maybe it would be time to reevaluate. But I know the Lions are trying to improve that. So credit to them for that. I'm going to try to go on Twitter real quick and see if I can find that pick six. I still keep forgetting it's called X. They're showing some footage from the Panthers and the Saints game, and somebody else threw an interception there too. All right, I found it. That's it. Wow, that was wild. So the wide receiver, the ball bounced off his hands, and it looked like it bounced off of like another defender or somebody until the Pittsburgh Steelers defender caught it and ran it. Or it got hit out of his hands or something. Kind of reminiscent of that legendary Hail Mary thing that happened with the Denver Broncos yesterday. Kind of reminds me a bit of that. Just like boop, 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 boop. Oh, I caught it now, and now it's a touchdown. I see Kennedy Pickett on the field. It's second and third. Ball on the 16-yard line. Pittsburgh 16 drops back for pass. Pass incomplete. Denzel Ward knocked it away. He was right on that receiver. That was really good coverage by that. He while tackling him at the same time. You can tell that guy is a pro. Shotgun pass. Oh, intercepted. Delpit gets the interception. Pickett tried to do it like a slant pass, kind of toward the end zone, but the Cleveland Browns caught it. All right, the Browns defense is impressing me so far. I still don't know much of these names. It's a slant pass. It looked like some sort of zone play, but he went from the middle coverage and went and caught the pass in front of him. So Cleveland's back in offense now. Deshaun Watson is gotten sacked. He dropped back to pass, took too much time, and got brought down. But Ogdoran. There's a lot going on in this game so far, and I'm loving it. Dang it. Trying to pronounce that defensive lineman's name. Ogunjobi. 2nd and 17. Watson dumps it off for a stream. Doesn't get it anywhere. Gets tackled right at the line of scrimmage. They're showing Minka Fitzpatrick on there. He's another Pittsburgh defender I forgot about who's pretty good. Arguably the best safety in the entire NFL, some might say. Third and 16 now. Deshaun Watson drops back to pass, darts it. Incomplete, out of bounds. It looked like it bounced off the chain gang orange thing. The pass, woo, boom. That was a crazy pass, kind of. For me, this game is much more entertaining than the Dolphins and Patriots game because that just seemed like two finesse teams just passing the ball, and there was like running plays all the time on there, but it just seemed like that was like the identity of both teams. Miami being their passing as well as New England's supposedly really good defense. Field goal attempt is up. No good. It went above like the goalpost and just missed on the right or left. I'm sorry. I didn't see how far that was at. Showing the replay. Missed it by half a foot, it looks like. It was a 43-yard attempt. I don't even know who. But yeah, so far I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I think there's going to be more action in this game. So somebody's going to score more points eventually. But 2 interceptions so far, one from each team. One is a pick six, which I missed while I was trying to reboot the NFL Plus app, and I've already aired my complaint about that already. So, I should probably update the score behind me here. Let's see. Cleveland has 3. And Pittsburgh has 7. Uh-oh. This was happening to me earlier as I was erasing and writing the new information on there, so I might have to maybe fix that permanently a little bit later on. I'm not allowed to use anything besides nails for hanging stuff up in this place I'm at. So, you know what? I'm going to take care of that real quick. Get out of the way. I'll be right back. Take over, chair. I already forgot what I named you. How did that get in? All right, that is fixed. Thank you, Hammer. And I decided the chair's name is Brees in honor of Brees Hall, who I remembered from that Jets and Bills game. What's going on? There's a flag. Pickett tried to go back and they stopped it. .5:23 left in the first quarter. False start on offense. They didn't say offense. They just said right tackle. So 5-yard penalty apparently. But yeah. It kind of looks like 37, which is my favorite number. 37 is my favorite number if you're reading it from the top down, which we typically don't do. We read from left to right and then top to bottom, like reading a book. Pickett, quick pass toward the side. Warren gets several yards on there. He gets within a couple yards of the first down there. That was a nice run after catch there. They got some good yak on that one. Yards after catch, yak. I checked my fantasy teams. I have 4 of them. 2 are from ESPN, 1 from Yahoo, or 2 from Yahoo. 2 of the 4 of them I was winning in. Sam Laporta did a lot better than what I thought, and I did start him. Although I should probably start Travis Kelce again now that he's playing again. Oh, a punt just took place from the Steelers. And it got all the way down to the 5-yard line. 5-ish. That's a nice fountain and a nice city lightscape. I never pictured Pittsburgh having a very beautiful city. I just imagine just steel mills and that sort of thing everywhere. I figured that'd be the identity of their city, but I guess I shouldn't judge it until I actually get over there to look at stuff. So I've always had hope that the Pittsburgh Pirates would be a really good baseball team, worth contending for a World Series and stuff like that again. But it just seems like a lot of these last years that they haven't been really well. There was that stretch of years when they were good, and back when Andrew McCutchen was a rookie, and they did stuff there. But I think that NL Central, I'm talking about Major League Baseball right now, that NL Central was super competitive because that's when the Chicago Cubs started getting good, and that was when they were knocking on the door for contending and before they ultimately won that World Series in 2016. I think I'm thinking of 2015 because that division had 2 wild card teams there. The Cubs were the ones that made it the farthest, but the Cardinals were probably the division winners, and the Pittsburgh Pirates were like the top wild card and had a really good record as well. But neither of those other teams survived that, and the Cubs made it through the NLCS, but lost that to the New York Mets, who then went to the World Series and lost to the Kansas City Royals. As far as baseball is concerned, if I used to think about this a long time ago, back when I was a baseball fan, but I think if I was a Major League Baseball GM, I'd probably try to build a team the way that the Kansas City Royals were built when they went to back-to-back World Series, and that's drafting and developing relief pitchers as well as the contact hitters who have speed, and they're good at defense too. A basic leadoff hitter type, because the Kansas City Royals team those years were stacked with them, and they hit the ball a lot, and they played small ball, and they were aggressive on the base pass and forced the defenses to make mistakes, and they scored more and more runs because of that. That their lineup was set up in a way where every 1-2 combination in that lineup was capable of, a hitter 1 getting on base, and then hitter 2 being able to drive that runner home within that at bat while that runner was on first base somehow, It could have been like an RBI double, or he could have stolen a base and then scored on a base hit, or maybe even a home run, even though those players on those teams weren't known for home runs. And I also just kind of hate the lazy notion that the Major League Baseball teams that are the most successful are the teams that hit the most home runs. Not always, not necessarily. And I just love it when the opposite type of team tends to win in order to shut those people up. So, anyways, football is back. It looked like the running back Chubb tried to go right in the middle of a hole, and he just kind of tripped on himself and kind of went to the side and fell down. He hopped, and it looked like he tripped and fell, kind of. Or no, he was trying to dodge somebody coming from the left of him, and he kind of fell over a little too much, I guess, to put more context into that. 3rd and 4 on the 11-yard line. Watson in shotgun. Gets a snap, passes it to the side slant, caught! But there's a flag. Mari Cooper, tight in coverage. What's the flag, though? Pass interference? Maybe? Yeah, it looks like he was being held. Pass interference. He was like, ah. They declined the penalty, though. So we have a 1st and 10, ball at the 28-yard line. Hands off to Chubb, going down the middle, and he breaks free. He gets a first down and much more. He's down to the 50, the 48. 20-yard gain there. That'll help my fantasy team. Nick Chubb was the one person I was trying to draft in my fantasy teams, but I didn't get him until the 4th draft I had set up, and I was like, yes. Oh, yeah, that was good blocking. He had a big hole there. And a couple people tried to leap out and tackle him, but they missed, obviously, until the safeties brought him down. But I wanted Chubb the most. They handed off to him again. He gets another 8 9 yards, maybe a first down. He bulldozed his way through some people there. But with a reliable offensive line plus a top running back, I suspected that would have been a lot of consistency for him. So not too many games where he would have had given me like minimal points. Chubb is off the field for the moment. Sean Watson hands it off to somebody not named Nick Chubb. And he gets no gain. No gain. They're explaining the Cleveland Browns throwback uniforms, which people were wondering what that was about. I never noticed it because I don't watch them enough, and I assumed that was their normal uniforms, but I'm learning something here now. I'm just glad I don't have to look at that ugly elf logo that they recently came out with that's on their field. Watson under center, scrambles back. He has a pressure. He gets rid of it. Passes caught. First down and more. Oh, they say incomplete now. Alex Highsmith was chasing Watson. Yep. And he had to scramble, and it looked like he was going to get brought down, and then he got rid of it just in the nick of time. It's kind of a rollout play, I guess. They're going for it on 4th down. Fourth and 1. Watson takes it up himself and lunges up the middle and looks like he got it. It looked like he was going to roll it again, and then he was like, nope, I'm going to go straight up the middle. And it looked like it worked. 8 seconds left in the first quarter. End of the first quarter. And now I'm remembering to change this. I forgot to change everything during the second half last night during the Dolphins and Patriots game. A lot of that had to do with like me just trying to process the Lions' loss. I was thinking a lot about their defensive coordinator and the scheme that he runs, and wondering if there was a better something better he could have done. But I don't think there's any way that Campbell's gonna get rid of Aaron Glenn because he came to New Orleans with him. So, and they're doing man-to-man coverage, and I was doing research on the pros and cons of doing a zone defense as opposed to man-to-man coverage. So, and I learned quite a bit of it. And I guess basically, if you have talented players on your defense, then preference would be to man-to-man coverage. But and then if you're not that confident in your the talent of your defense, then I guess zone coverage. But you need like the discipline to know how to do zone coverage to be able to do it, if I understand that correctly. But quarterbacks can like pick apart the gaps that the zone defense inevitably creates, I guess. So and the Lions are the type of team that like to build their team based on the most talented type of people, big bodies who have high football IQs and can play multiple positions. Those are the type of players that they'd like to draft if you pay attention. So, man, the loss, it is what it is, but the injuries are what I'm concerned about. So hopefully McNeil will be back into the game. Broderick Martin has not played in the first 2 games, and I'm wondering why that is. Maybe he's just trying to develop, and maybe he'll like come in like later in the season, kind of like what James Houston did last season. But I don't know. There's a lot of questions about the Lions defense right now, especially the defensive line. And I explained why the Seattle 2 tackles out and the defensive line still struggling. I explained why that was an exaggeration because Seattle did 3 tight end sets that helped with the blocking. So everybody needs to drop that narrative about the Lions' defensive line sucking because they didn't. And they did pressure the quarterbacks in the game. They just didn't get a sack. They just didn't get sacks. I guess they're still looking at whether or not Watson got the first down on that play. Oh, it looked like he fumbled it. It looked like it was fumbled. They're just trying to. Tomlin challenged the play, I guess, but Watson recovered it. Interesting. I didn't realize a challenge was going on. Yeah, I see the ball get knocked out. But there's too many other defenders in front of it, so it's hard to see it from that angle, from the side angle. Here's the upper angle. upward angle, somebody's foot is in the way of it too. There's a ref talking to Deshaun Watson right now, probably explaining what's going on. Broadcasters are asking, "Oh, how was your morning?" I walked around, got coffee. It was nice. Who cares? I wish this game was the Manning cast because that was fun to talk about what they were doing in addition to what was going on in the game. Based on the other teams I like to watch, I should have been watching the Panthers because the Lions play the Panthers later this season. But you know, they're still under review with all this. This is really slowing down the game for me. Here they come. Here they come. He's jogging out to the field. Still jogging. After further review. Pittsburgh recovered the ball, number 99. Wow. Deshaun Watson turned the ball over again. Ogunjobi, a fumble recovery on a fourth down play. So even if they didn't get it, that would have been a Pittsburgh turnover on downs anyway. So Pittsburgh gets the ball regardless, though. So where's 99 at? Under his gut is what they're saying. Yeah, 99 was like way at the bottom of the pile. It's tough to tell for us viewers at home. They suspect the ball went through Deshaun Watson's legs during the fumble. So, anyway, 1st and 10. Offsides. Someone was offsides. It's at Pittsburgh's 42. Offense number 76. Offsides. Chooks Okorafor, his second penalty of the night. He was on concussion protocol after last week's game, apparently. And Broderick Jones practiced in his spot, I guess. Pickett gets the snap. He's looking for a pass. Check down, and it's fumbled, knocked out. Cleveland gets the ball, picks up. He's running with the ball down the 20, and it's fumbled again. Oh, my gosh. And just until it goes out of bounds. Wow. What is going on? There was like at least 2 fumbles on that play, and then like pinball with different people trying to get the ball before it goes out of bounds. They're saying an interception by Cleveland and then fumbled forward and out of bounds. A Pittsburgh player looks injured, hitting the chest and whatever. I would have thought that was a fumble recovery, but they called it an interception. Yeah, announcers are calling it a misspeak. That was definitely a fumble recovery, though. He's going, showing a replay. Fumbled again, fumbled forward. Recovered, attempted by one player, and then goes out of bounds. They're reviewing the play again, apparently. $23-yard line is where they're marking it. Wait a minute. It's still the first quarter? I'm confused. Why does it still say the first quarter? Why did I think it was the second quarter? I must be seeing things tonight. I don't know. So Watson gets the ball back. After a wild turn of events, hands off to Chubb, who's gets brought down, gains a couple of yards. Down at the 20-yard line. Now it's the end of the first quarter. So just think of the Cleveland drive as Washington getting the first down, but then Pittsburgh runs a play for them, and then Cleveland goes back to running their play. Think of it that way. Oh, man, oh, man. Wild first quarter. But I'm loving it. There's a lot of suspense and a lot of wild plays that's making everything interesting, as opposed to just, pass all over the field. I mean, each team has its own identity, and what works for them works for them. But, this game has the perfect mix of physicality and turnovers and wild plays and, the runs and the pass when necessary, and the quarterbacks running with the ball where they go, and then, good contested catches. Games like this have a little bit of everything, and you don't necessarily know who's going to win this game. This game opened with a pick six, to put it in a better context. So, I had to check my email real quick. Good time to do a social media break and everything. I don't have too much social media anymore. YouTube's my main one, basically. I can check ESPN for some of the news headlines. That's where I found out about the thing about the running backs. I guess it wouldn't surprise me in the grand scheme of things, but I'd be heartbroken if I found out Montgomery was a part of it. Source: Barkley out 3 weeks with ordinary sprain. Well, that can't be good. Barkley out and is injured again, and I guess the Giants are back to being a seller team. There's no luck, not too much luck for them, although they did win, even though it looked like they were going to lose yesterday. So, but the fact that you had to do a comeback win against the Cardinals is very concerning. All right, we're back. Start of the second quarter, and Watson's in shotgun, gets the snap, passes across the middle, first down and more. Amari Cooper gets it. 11-yard gain on that pass, and it's first and goal. I'm trying my best not to repeat whatever Joe Buck says, because we all hate him. My hate for Joe Buck started with the 2012 World Series, Detroit Tigers against the San Francisco Giants, and he kept talking about the the Tigers' mistakes and what they're slumping at while praising the San Francisco Giants. And it just seemed like there was obvious bias. Maybe not necessarily against one team, but like for the team that makes, Fox or whatever the most money, which would be ironic because I guess San Francisco could be thought of as a liberal city, whereas, Fox at the time could be thought of as a network for conservatives. But that's just me speculating there. I don't want to start a political war here or anything. This is about sports. But my point is Joe Buck has a lot of bias, and a lot of people think that same thing. Joe Buck's Twitter has to say no. Twitter X description, I remember one time years ago saying, "No, I don't hate your team," and then blah, 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 blah. So it got to that point. Oh, they're saying Nick Chubb is injured. And Fitzpatrick is injured too. Minka Fitzpatrick, I guess. Two big players, 2 injuries. Commercial break. That would not be good. The NFL scriptwriters are brutal with these injuries. Oh, man, imagine if Nick Chubb fakes an injury as part of what the NFL is accusing the Players Association of conspiring of doing. I guess this would be a good attention getter to do it on Monday Night Football, But I think the Cleveland Browns would be screwed without Nick Chubb because he, as I described, he's a key piece of, the step one that the Browns, I guess, are one of the best teams at trying to get done. The Lions, had that too, with Montgomery and Gibbs, and before with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift with, the offensive line that they have. But, and the injuries are starting to pile up again. So the Lions, I think against the Chiefs last Thursday was the first time since the Holmes-Campbell era where all of the expected starters of the offensive line were all completely healthy at the same time. Of course, the second half of the season 2 years ago when Taylor Decker returned and the Lions started playing better, that could have been an exception too. But like that year, Taylor Decker started off, I guess, with a finger injury, was out for the first half of the season, and then he came back. And then, I take back that thing because Frank Ragnow, after the third game, he had a bad turf toe or whatever and had to miss the entire season because of that. And then last season, the right guard, Halupidebe Baitai, missed the entire season from an injury, and he just came back this year as well. So, but yeah, the Lions' offensive line, the main strength, and they're supposedly top 3 in the league. And there's a cart. What is going on? Is that Nick Chubb getting carted off? They're talking about the Steelers fans being classy. Channing Chubb. Ovation. Deshaun Watson scrambling to his right. Lobs it to somebody else and gets a touchdown. Jerome Ford gets a touchdown. So it looks like Nick Chubb is out of this game as he's carted off into the tunnel. A lot going on here right now. You hate to see injuries, and that's another unfortunate part of the game. You hate to see injuries to your favorite team, favorite players, and you hate to see the referees blowing bad calls, which seems like we get a lot. All fans, all teams, everywhere. If it wasn't an unfortunate game if it was an easy game where everybody was never injured or penalized and the refs made it all the correct calls, then this game would probably be boring. So a flag on the extra point. Offsides on someone. Offsides on defense. So now that the ball's at the 1 point yard line, they're going to try to go for a 2-point conversion. It's a Dan Campbell type of move. Watson hands it off, and it looks like the running back is in. Jerome Ford is that running back. So now the score is 11-7. So if the Steelers kick a field goal, they'll still be losing by 1 point. So that forces them to have to score a touchdown, which that could come in handy if, it's down to that score is still the same as it gets closer to halftime, or maybe even at the end of the game. I think more points will still be scored by someone eventually, but this wonky score could, factor into situations later in the game, Aside from the pick six at the beginning of the game and then Deshaun Watson's fumble, I'd say he's doing a sideline reporter. Chubb out for the rest of the game. Okay, so even if Cleveland wins this game, there's a chance Chubb could be out for the rest of the season, and then they wouldn't be as good of a team. So that might factor into who my number 2 team will be. Pittsburgh hasn't really wowed me so far in this game, aside from the turnovers and stuff. Kenny Pickett passes up the middle, passes caught, brought down. Got about 5 or 6 yards on that one. Allen Robinson caught it. I see Pickens and Darnell Washington both in the huddle. They're both in the game. 2 players I highlighted in my primetime preview. Hands it up the middle. It's got to be Najee Harris. Got about 2 yards up the middle on that play. Third and 3. I wonder what they're going to run on this play. I got somewhat of an important text. I want to check it out simultaneously. Pickett goes back, dumps it off. No one's around the first down and much more. Down to the 50, down to the 40, knocked out of bounds. That was a big play. Jalen Warren got 30 yards on that play. It was kind of a check down, and everybody was on the other side of the field there. Okay, that was a good play. The people lining up on that, they all slanted the other way, and then the running back kind of ran through there back to where they were, and kind of reminds me of the play that the Lions beat the Jets last season on with the tight end scoring the touchdown. All right, 2nd and 12 at the 40-yard line. Cleveland's 40. Pickett drops back, passes, ball's out of his hands, incomplete. Calvin Austin. I'm learning all sorts of names on the Steelers tonight. At least the Steelers are not getting blown out like they did last week. But their offense hasn't put any points on the board. Their 7 points was because of the defense and the pick six. All right, Pickett gets the snap. He's reading. He's getting pressured now. Gets rid of the ball. Throws it out of bounds. Fans are starting to get frustrated with the offense. And they punted it. Bouncing to the 10, and it stops. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, this is the phone that was getting texts. I got 2 phones that I'm dealing with here. Well, that I already know. That I also already know. Okay. I also stumbled across an article last night about like some of the craziest like defensive schemes or the most notable schemes that certain people came up with. Jim Schwartz was one of them with like what they said about his defensive tackles. Mike Zimmer, I guess another one, longtime Minnesota Vikings head coach before he got fired a couple of years ago. Overstayed his welcome, I guess. Kind of I guess an old school type at this point, known for being conservative and liking his secondary players, but he, I guess, does this thing where he disguises the linebackers and they are able to blitz in the A and B gap, the A gaps, and that's kind of his identity, I guess. And then somebody from the Chiefs had one, someone from the Ravens. Ravens are known for just basically disguising all their formations so that it's very difficult to tell what they do. Ooh, they tried to pass, it was incomplete. They're back. They're showing Nick Chubb highlights. It looks like a knee or a shin or something. Minka Fitzpatrick, who also kind of got hurt on that play too. Deshaun Watson drops back. Now he's scrambling, and he gets sacked. He gets brought down. Loss of 3. But there's a flag on the play. 11:05 to go in the second quarter. Holding on offense. Declined. Third down coming up. Deshaun Watson's in the end zone, getting pressured, gets rid of the ball. The ball goes through the receiver's hands, and then out of bounds, incomplete. That was TJ Watt on the pressure. Almost got a safety, but didn't. They're going to have to punt it now. I know Dan Campbell's play calling was criticized as well. Like he went for it on fourth down when he probably should have punted it, back on his side of the field, and then they didn't get the fourth down conversion, and Seattle scored a touchdown from that short field possessions. Whoa! Punt returner survived a couple of hits, brought down to the 40. Calvin Austin. Anyways, people thought Campbell should have punted that one. And then later on toward the end of the game, where they kicked the field goal, people thought that they were close enough to maybe try for the game-winning touchdown on the last play, but they decided to go for the field goal. My theory is that Campbell probably knew he probably should have punted it at that point, and then maybe was trying to overcompensate by not going for it for the field goal, and then that's kind of what screwed things up. So, he'll learn from it, and I think eventually, he'll have moments where he tries to be aggressive, but he'll try to make more normal head coaching decisions in those situations. But I suspect Campbell probably overcompensated for being aggressive at the wrong time by being conservative also at another wrong time too. But because it's a roll of the dice overtime and the coin toss, and just so happens Seattle got the ball first, and then they scored the touchdown, and Detroit never got the ball. So ask Josh Allen about that. Pickett, check down, goes as far as the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 5. I'm liking Pittsburgh's defense so far. The offense hasn't done much. Pickett passes across. Wow. It was incomplete and nobody. He passed it to nobody. Someone must have ran around or miscommunication somewhere. 4th and 5 now. Oh, they're going for the field goal. 52 yards. Boswell's the kicker. 84% out from 50 yards or beyond. Kick is up. And it is good. Right down the middle. Cleveland Browns are still winning, but now it's only by 1 point. So that's kind of be a good psychological factor and a slight advantage for Cleveland, just knowing that, they're winning instead of it being a tied game. Although they should treat it like it's a tied game. They're showing some footage of the Panthers and Saints game. Someone's about to score. The Saints, hands off, battles his way into a touchdown, which would make the score 12-6 Saints. And they go for 1. That's the Saints and Panthers. It kind of makes me wonder if Joe Buck is broadcasting the Browns and Steelers game. We know the Manning brothers are probably on ESPN too. Who is announcing the Panthers and Saints game on the ESPN, the original ESPN channel, the main channel? They're talking about the Cleveland Browns' long, gloomy history of failure or whatever. Bill Belichick was a head coach way back in the 90s. Steelers won 20 straight Monday Night Football home games. That streak may end tonight if their offense can't get their butts in gear. I can see what certain people mean about Matt Canada. Maybe it's not Matt Canada's scheme. Maybe just the Steelers don't have enough talent on offense to get anything done. Maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. I think it's possible to have a side of the ball that has talent, but not a good scheme. Or Watson tried to scramble and he gets sacked. Doesn't get brought down. Well, anyways, it's possible to have good talent on a team, but a bad offensive scheme. And there's also teams that could have a really good offensive scheme, but not as much talent. But Ben Johnson, I think, can prove that you can have mid talent. Not to say the Lions' talent is mid, but think of the tight ends, the second stringish tight ends that they had, and if you scheme them well, then you can see a lot of success of them. A lot of Lions fans were saying we don't need a tight end after that, even though we drafted one. So 3rd and 7 for Watson. Goes deep toward the corner. Pass is caught. First down, out of bounds. That was Elijah Moore, but he might have caught it out of bounds. So maybe 4th and 7. Okay, so he caught it out of bounds. Catches it, 1 foot down, 2nd foot halfway on the out of bounds line. So that's unfortunate. That was a good catch under that coverage, though. Too bad. But they're going for no, they're not. That's the punting. This game is starting to get a little bit boring. Ever since Nick Chubb got carted off the field. AFC North, the stakes. Both teams could be good or bad. Before the season started, I predicted the Steelers to win the division and the Browns to finish in last place. But really, anything could happen. We're forgetting about the Ravens, too, who everybody is saying is a really good team, even though they get bit by the injury bug quite a bit. And then I don't even remember who the Bengals, the team that went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago and almost went to the Super Bowl last year. And people still talk about it as a top 5 team, even though they're 0-2 now. Burrow signs a big contract and is starting to deal with injuries a bit now. So, yeah, maybe the Bengals are starting to fall and getting figured out. So there's only so long that you can, go until teams watch footages on you and start to adjust to what you're trying to do. So I kind of suspect with the Lions, like people are figuring out Ben Johnson's schemes and that sort of stuff. And maybe they're trying to do better on them, but hopefully, when that happens, it's up to you to try to adjust back. And that's what I really think is, a big key for teams to stay consistently well. The ability to make adjustments after teams make those initial adjustments against you. And to go back to a baseball example, Chipper Jones was a consistent player, a Hall of Fame player. And the thing that people said about him, why the key to his success, he always made adjustments when he needed to, like, with his fundamentals or which pitches to swing at and that sort of thing. So, and, that plays into all sports, I think. So, and that was part of what I was wondering about with Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, because they seem to do man-to-man coverage, like quite a bit. But Aaron Glenn is known for showing different formations and having different players, lining up different places and playing different positions just to try to confuse the offense. So he seems like he knows what he's doing there. It's just a matter of trying to get the results when we need to, because the opposing teams are still able to move the ball on the Lions enough to, where the Lions are not like reducing the defense down to 7 points a game or 14 points a game and that sort of thing. The Chiefs put up 20 points against us, but, that's to be expected because they're the Super Bowl champions, best offense, not all that. But, Seattle got 30 points against us, or I should call it 24 points because one of them was a pick six, or maybe 30 points total if you count the overtime. But for all we know, Seattle could be like a Super Bowl contending team, like right up there with the Eagles and Cowboys and those teams. But, they just barely made the wild card last year. So they're probably in the shadow of the 49ers. So, I'm not panicking yet. So I just like to understand how the other teams try to approach the Lions. Pickett checkdowns to Najee Harris, and he drops it. Now it's 3rd and 10. You notice I'm focusing less on the game when the Steelers offense is on the game because, they're not doing anything. Mike, I'm just now reading your comment. Sorry about it took me so long. Do you think you could eat more hot dogs or bananas? Not tonight. I'm actually trying to diet right now. Maybe more bananas. I already eat bananas twice a day. But I'm not going to do silly things like that for attention for the time being in terms of eating. I've already eaten a cheeseburger and I got rated for it before. So you might catch me eating something later. Mike Media. Yeah, I know. I answered that question quite literally, and you were probably trying to make a insulting sex joke. So, and who knows? No one knows what you were intending to do with that, but you. But I appreciate the comment regardless, because I'm worthy of your attention. 1st and 10. Pickett drops back to pass. Down the field. Caught. Down to 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. That one worked. That was George Pickens. I knew he was going to do something eventually. 71-yard reception. Whatever that scheme was, that was really good. It was like a slant or post type of play. And he just beats all the secondary players, like as he goes across the field. It was a play that seemingly looked like it was going to just be a 15, 20-yard gain on the pass, but Pickett kind of looked like he got hit a little hard as he was brought down on that one. Offsides on the extra point. So because of that, the Steelers get the ball up to the 1-yard line. Now they're going to try the 2-point conversion. Doing what Cleveland did earlier in that game. Will they be successful? It's about time George Pickens did something, so I figured he was going to be a candidate to be emerging star wide receiver. Harris goes up the middle. The fall's fumbled. Did the Steelers recover it in the end zone, maybe? They're ruling that it's no good because it was recovered by a teammate. The fumble happened short of the end zone because, as a result, so Cleveland's defense impressed me there. So what a wonky score we have here. Six-ish minutes left to go in the first half, the second quarter, whatever you want to call it. I'm just checking YouTube, just real brick. I just saw something. A YouTube headline. It says, breaking news, CJ Gardner-Johnson could miss season with feared torn pectoral. What is going on? I thought he was going to be all right. going to check another news source. Give me a second. Okay, they're reporting the same thing out there too. I'm in the middle of reading some breaking news with Lions stuff while commercials are going on over here. He suffered a torn pectoral muscle during the last game. NFL Network was the first to report this unfortunate news. The source indicated that the outlook for his recovery is not promising. He initially sustained the injury in the first quarter of the game. Despite his setback, he managed to play through the rest of the game, assuring reporters after he was fine. However, with him sidelined for the foreseeable future, it seems like Tracy Walker is prepared to reclaim his role. So, yeah, Tracy Walker was in the rotation. He was starting, but because Brian Branch and C.J. Gardner-Johnson was in there, Tracy Walker was not a starter, but still on the team. All right, back to the game. 1st and 10 for Cleveland at their 25-yard line. Must have been a touchback. Deshaun Watson drops back to pass. Over the middle. Broken up. Intended for Mari Cooper. Sideline reporter. All they said, they saw Pickett go to the locker room, but he went without a trainer. Well, that was very thorough words there. 2nd and 10. Ford pretty much got stood up, and they whistled the play dead. It's okay. The Lions have depth at safety, so they'll still be able to manage. I would suspect. That's why it's important to have depth, because you never know when injuries are going to pop up on you. Watson drops back, gets rid of the ball, caught, but was he in bounds? I don't believe so. 4th and 11. And they punt it. And he gets drilled at the 32-yard line. And there's a flag. He called the fair catch, I guess, and he hit him anyway. Unnecessary roughness. Both teams don't seem to be known for their special teams, as I pointed out, like ranking toward the bottom of the league in certain things, although Cleveland is in the middle of the pack in terms of like the returning. All right, I'm reading the Twitter source. Corey E. Woods. Who is that? Pistons writer. Okay, that must be a MLive writer. Ian Rappaport, I guess, first reported it, as well as Mike Garofalo from NFL Network. I'm on Ian Rappaport's Twitter as they try to run the play and they get stopped at the line of scrimmage. Saints running back Jamal Williams, questionable return versus Panthers due to hamstring injury. Wow, he's gone too. Maybe he's part of the running backs strike or whatever, the unofficial strike. Here's the tweet about it. Lions DB CJ Jardim is feared to have suffered a torn pec in Sunday's game. Sources tell me and Mike Garofalo the playmaker had been a big part of the Detroit's defense, now out indefinitely, potentially for the season. A catch toward the sideline beyond the first down marker was made. 10 yards. 1st and 10. Good job by Kenny Pickett. And Pickett to get sacked. No, fumble. Or he tried to pass it to somebody, but it was incomplete as he was getting sacked. Pickett, incomplete. Tries to dart it to somebody, but too far ahead. Third and 10. Pickett scrambling to his left. Under pressure by 2. Gets rid of it. Incomplete. Pickens was covered really good on that one. Urinating Tree is streaming this game. I wonder if I can imitate his laugh. Oh, man. Pittsburgh is punting it. And there's a flag somewhere. .246 left to go in the first half. I completely zoned out with that penalty there, but I guess 5 yards or so. I don't know. I hovered over the breaking news YouTube thing from Micro Mike's channel, and I can, even though I can't hear it, I can see him saying the word cheeks. And yeah, that's basically his way of saying the F bomb when something really bad happens. And yeah, if CJ Gardner Johnson is out for the season, Sean Watson scrambling, uh, by the way, he's going to take it himself, goes out of bounds. If CJ Gardner Johnson is done for the year, then that's big for the Lions in a bad way, I guess. But still, though, we have Tracy Walker. Maybe even move Brian Branch to safety, even though he's doing really good at slot corner right now. He's versatile there, too. They're showing Bryce Young on a game break. He scrambles with the ball himself up the middle. First down. That was like a 30-yard gain. Good for him. I thought he was going to score a touchdown there, but Sean Watson drops back to pass, dumps it off, breaks a few tackles, and he's getting a first down and more. That was a tight end that got probably a good 20 yards on that gain. Njoku, he's on one of my fantasy teams. That should help with that one. Njoku. I'm going to have to remember that name. 2-minute warning. This is when I usually announce my raid bait. Halftime raid bait. Rubik's Cube. I am going to attempt to solve this Rubik's Cube during halftime. And maybe that will capture somebody's attention and maybe they'll raid me. Whew. I wonder if anybody else besides who does raids like that at halftime. Okay, I'm going to watch this YouTube video here real quick while we're on commercial break. Because as it gets closer to halftime, it's just going to be a bunch of timeouts. I agree if that's true. Mr. Micro Mike. He looks pissed. Watching this YouTube video for details on this breaking news. One word reaction to the news. You mean besides the F bomb? That's the only word that I can think of. Watson scrambles to his left. Incomplete. Still have a Fatu Melifonwu, but he won't. What is he going to do? Next man up, indeed. We have depth at least. Watson pass gets batted away. 3rd and 7. 103 left. Stephen Gilmore, maybe. Watson scrambling, and he gets brought down and sacked. TJ Watt. Watson looks injured. He's down, kinda. Oh, he gets up, kind of limping, but he's fine. Still watching this YouTube video though, venting about our Lions' luck with injuries. 4th and 14. Timeout, Steelers. 55-yard attempt for Cleveland. Kick is up, and it is good. That was impressive. I'd say the Browns found their kicker. Video is done. The game breaking to the Saints. Oh, wow, that's a nice catch. Saints person caught it. It wasn't a touchdown, but a very long pass. At least 40 yards, I think. That was an injury out for the season type I was not expecting for the Lions. Hopefully Montgomery is back soon. That would be good. Hopefully Decker's back soon. Hopefully Vitae is back soon. Our key offensive pieces for sure. I refuse to give in to despair, though, because the Lions I think, have good depth pieces that can step up, like Tracy Walker, Grant Reynolds, if necessary. James Houston's going to be out for a while, too, but the Lions have other capable edge rushers. Hutchinson's been getting a lot of pressures, though, but, the other ones really have to step up in the ways that they can. Pascal, I hope he comes back too. He didn't play either. And it is halftime, folks. I promised you guys raid bait for Rubik's Cube, and I'm going to kind of go over my process for how I solved it. And there's more than one way to solve a Rubik's Cube. And the way that I learn it is this. The first thing that you got to keep in mind is that these middle colors on each side always stay in the same spot. So, like, red will always be the opposite of orange. Yellow will always be the opposite of white, in terms of the middle colors and so on and so forth. So everything you do kind of revolves around them. And your first step, basically, I always start with white to be the first one. And then you want to solve like this side. And then you kind of solve this row and then this row. And then the top row is kind of more complicated. You kind of got to get the yellow ones lined up from here, kind of like across. And then also the matching colors, like yellow here and then like orange here, like make sure those match. And then you can, after that, then you focus on the corner pieces. The two steps to do with the corner pieces: one, you got to rotate them so that each corner one is in the correct spot, so that like a yellow, an orange, and a green, the corner piece has all three of those colors right here. And then once you get those, and then your last step is to rotate each of them on each side until they're in the right spot, and then that's when it's solved. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get this started. I'm going to start kind of with the cross, and then I'm just going to, here's one that's already connected with that one, so I just got to go to the orange one. That's 1 of 3. Okay, here's a white and a blue, so I want to bring the white and the blue over here. So you rotate it like so. You can see it right here. The blue is right here. So it's in a perfect position for me, like trying to get there, but it's right here. So I want to turn this one so that, blues are aligning. And then the white is in a position to where it can rotate up there. And that's what we have there. Now, only I think I might have done it backwards. Where did the blue go? I'm doing this while trying to watch the screen in terms of the reverse. I never had to explain my process for solving this before, but here's something. Green, that gets to that spot. It's like the white and the blue one just disappeared on me. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, it's right here. It's still lined up. I just got to do one more rotation, and then boom, that's solved there. So I just kind of lost it there for a second. I also have green lined up here too. And then here's an orange one, and it's in a prime position to get rotated to the red one. So we're going to do that as well. There we go, that way, that direction. And then you can rotate it one more time where the orange is kind of in that position, and then you can rotate it up to the white. And then after you do that, you got to be able to rotate the other ones that you inadvertently got moved there. So we have 3 down now. So we have the blue one, the red one, and the green one. The last one is orange, and you can see it right here. So you're going to rotate that up there, and then rotate the orange so that they're matching, and then put the one that was originally moved back into its spot. And you got the cross done already. And now we do the corner ones. And we got to get the corner ones so that it has white, red, and green. So we got to find that one for that spot. While they're at halftime, they're showing the Panthers and the Saints game. Where is it? Okay, so I was looking for, what did I say? White, red, and blue, and I found it, and it's up here in the wrong spot. So we got to back it out of the driveway, as I like to say. So backing out of the driveway, moving the car out, and then bringing it home, back into the garage. Or you have a car on a tow truck, and the tow truck is backing the car out of the driveway, and then dropping it off, and the tow truck is returning to the garage. And so it's right here, and you want to, let's see. There we go. You want to, your first step to get it up here is to align it down here in the bottom. So you know this is white, red, white, and blue, like the colors of the American flag. And then here's blue middle, red middle, and white middle. And then since the white is on this side and that's the top side, we're going to do this. Back up the tow truck with the car. Actually, a better metaphor here. Back the car into the spot. Here comes the tow truck of the white middle, bringing it down. The car is getting connected to the tow truck. Oh, crap. Hang on. Okay, I'm doing it reverse. So car's backed up. Tow truck is backing up. It's connected to the tow truck. Now the tow truck is bringing it back into the garage. Voila. I'll demonstrate with another step. So here's white, blue, and orange. Right here. And without the metaphors, I'll just explain what it is. So white, blue, and orange. It's on this side, so it would rotate this way. Boom. Bring this down. Boom. Boom. And boom. So that's in the right spot. And if you master this particular step, then it really sets you up to have success with that. So let's see. We got 2 more to do. This one, the white is on the bottom, which is kind of a issue there, but we can always rotate it. I'll just bring this down and then rotate it enough so that it won't go back up on the other one side, and then bring that up. So now it's on the correct side with that. I guess we'll do this one since it's already here. Green and orange and white. And that corner piece is there. So it's white is lined out on that side, and that's the top color. So bring it that way. It's going to come down to, this piece is going to come down to, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. This piece is going to come down to get it. The piece is going to go and accept the pickup, and it's going to bring it home. And then we got one more left, and this is what? Green and red. See that there? Doot. Oh, that's why I'm looking at the screen and it keeps screwing me up that way. Doot. Doot. And doot. Voila, we got the first side done. And not only is this first side done, but we also got this first row done here where all the colors are matching the middle square. And then our next step is to get these middle corner ones matching so that, for example, the green middle one's over here, the orange middle one's over here, and we want matching colors there. So green and orange. And let's see if I can find it here. Yep. And it's here. We want to start by having that piece in this position here. And it's kind of a similar philosophy. Like, you want to back this up and let it get out of the way so that it can be brought, be picked up. Let me do it from my angle real quick. And then you're kind of bringing it up. You're bringing it up that way. Hang on. I'm going to do it from my angle so that I can see it. But the key is similar. The key is to have this one that's matching with that, bring that back. And then from the opposite side, have it come pick it up. And then rotate the orange one back into where it's connecting in the center. And then you can rotate it back up there. So that way that piece is in there. But now you have to do the previous step again to get this back into the correct spot. So, which is why it's important to understand that step. So, doot. There we go. Doot. 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 And we got one step down with that. So, and then we just repeat the process. And here's one that's already set up. So green over here, red over here. And this is a green and red piece. So bring back that up so that the ride can get there. And then from the other side, it's going to come and pick it up. And then it's going to accept the ride. And then the ride is going to take off. And then you repeat the original step from before. And then that's the green and orange, and red and green. That's 2 of 4 done. Let's do red and blue right here. Red and blue is set up right here, so And then bring that one home. And then we got one more left. And it's already in the spot, but it's in the wrong order. So we're going to have to flip that out kind of with the same process here. Still halftime. The third quarter is going to start here soon. The announcers are, getting there. It's 14-16, but I'm going to back this out of here with the same steps because we got to get it in the right position before we can put it in there correctly. So. And now it's in the right position. So doot. It backed out. The ride came. He accepted the ride. He got into the car and they drove off. And then back to that previous step here. Doot. And all the middle sections are done. And it looks like they're going to start the third quarter, so I'm not going to have time to finish this, but that is the halftime raid bait. That should get you started with the Rubik's Cube stuff anyway. And that was a good distraction for my mind from the unfortunate breaking news of C.J. Gardner-Johnson being out for the season. We talked to Mike Tomlin. I want to focus on this. A lot of sweet nothings like, yeah, we did a good job, but I got to say we got to do better type of stuff. Pickett almost threw an interception after scrambling to the right while being pursued. The Lions did sign Tracy Walker to a deal, probably a relatively smaller deal, but still a deal. And when they did, there was footage of Dan Campbell saying to Tracy Walker, "We think you're one of the guys." So Tracy Walker, definitely a core piece. Hopefully he steps up as one. He was somebody who's injured for all of last season. So back-to-back years, the starting safety injured and he got ejected from that first game against the Eagles. So I bet teams don't have much footage of Tracy Walker, and whatever he's able to do will catch people off guard. So, yeah. Pickett drops back. Progressions going down the middle. Passes caught. First down and more. Down to the 51-yard line. 49 of Cleveland's territory. That was Ward that caught it, but Zadarius Smith is down. I got this, and I'm going to fiddle around with it for a bit. Haven't decided where I'm going to hang this up yet. Trainers are still looking at the injured player. Yeah, this game is close. It's competitive. Cleveland has the lead at one point, and Pittsburgh has the lead at another point, but 2-point conversion attempts have made the score pretty wonky. Cleveland successfully got their 2-point conversion, while Pittsburgh did not. Or was it vice versa? Yeah, because Cleveland had 2 field goals, and then they had that pick six touchdown. So normally that would make a score like 13, but because they did a 2-point. No, that's not right. Because they didn't do a 2-point conversion on the attempt after the pick six to start the game. So Cleveland must have made 3 field goals. No, because that score would be 16. Damn it. Oh, wait. Pittsburgh was the team that got the pick six, not Cleveland. That's where I was going wrong. So, yeah, Cleveland has a touchdown and 2 field goals and a successful 2-point conversion. While meanwhile, Pittsburgh, normally their score would be like 17 points because 2 touchdowns and a field goal. That would be like a 17 points, but they failed to convert on a 2-point conversion, so their score is actually 16. So if Cleveland gets a field goal, then they could take the lead in the game. They're promoting Celebrity Jeopardy, and the guy who played Kevin from The Office was one of the contestants. Hosted by Ken Jennings. Five yards up the middle for who has the ball right now? Pittsburgh. It's like, make it 6, make it 6. Probably the next one. Handoff up the middle, gets the first down. That was Warren on the carry. The name dropped Darnell Washington, so he must have had a good block on that play. Tied fewest in the NFL week 1. I missed that stat. They're getting the running game going. No gain on that one. Denzel Ward. It sounds like the Saints won their game. So they're 2-0. We got to play the Saints later in the season. But that won't be for a while. We'll have an idea of what their team is like during that, at that time. Oh, Pickens catches it. He tries to hop over him, but he just pushes him back to his standing position. Do I have any? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's all ice water at this point. I'll have to refresh that at some point. Pickett, quick pass, incomplete. Pickens was covered by Denzel Ward. Joe Beck calls it blanket coverage. It's like a force field. This is the tightest coverage game in terms of like receivers and like cornerbacks or whoever, like within each other on inches. Like every catch seems like it's a contested catch. This is a 50-yard field goal attempt, by the way, for Pittsburgh. And the kick is up, down the middle, and it's good. From 16 to 19. So now the Steelers are up by 5 points. So Cleveland will have to score a touchdown to get ahead. I gotta change this, by the way. No. Bachelor in Paris. It's fine. No, it's fine. Whoa, what's this? Sideline reporter. Yeah, we knew that. Extra quote from head coach. So she got quotes from the head coach. Standard interview responses. Nothing new about Nick Chubb other than what we already knew, that he's out for the game with a knee injury. I feel like biting things all of a sudden. Before this live stream started, I ate vanilla ice cream on top of a brownie. Okay. Jerome Ford. He had a really good run around the end, and he ran all the way for the touchdown. The pursuing defender kind of caught his ankle, and he got tripped up, but he fell just in time. That was Ford running with the ball. That was a 70-yard rush. Good for you filling in for Nick Chubb on that one. Now he was short of the touchdown by half a yard. You can see it on the... And he still had the possession. Not fumble or anything. Still very, very good run. Yeah, my broadcasting of that wasn't too wild, but I was kind of in disbelief. It was like, whoa. So Cleveland's other running backs are being very productive in this game too. So... Oh, the running back ran into a wall trying to get into the touchdown. No gain on that one. Roberts, really good run defender. A force field. He put up a force field there. That's the key to winning a lot of these games. A good step one, being able to stop the run on the defensive side, that is. And Strong runs in for the touchdown. They got through easily that time. Strong Jr. After this extra point or 2-point conversion, I'm going to check the box score stats for each team. Two-point attempt. It's 2019 right now. If they get it, then it would take a field goal to tie it for Pittsburgh. Deshaun Watson back to pass. He's going to scramble it into the right, and he gets in super easily. 2-point conversion is good. 22-19 Browns. Cleveland Browns are up by 3 points, which means Pittsburgh has to kick a field goal just to tie it. That's huge as opposed to a 1-point score. A little bit on edge, so a little bit of relief psychologically for Cleveland right now. Now they're saying it's a 69-yard run. Wouldn't you agree, Brees? Ford with a 69-yard run. I'm not going to say it. All right, let's check out some of these stats for each team so far at this point in the game. All right, Deshaun Watson is 11 for 22 with 107 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, while Kenny Pickett is 12 for 24 with 184 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So actually surprisingly very similar stats, except Pickett has a lot more passing yards than Deshaun Watson. However, Deshaun Watson has 3 carries for 7 yards. Wow, that's fewer than I would have thought he had. But Kenny Pickett has 1 carry for -1 yards on there. But anyways, Nick Chubb, who's out of the game now because of that injury we talked about, he had 10 carries for 64 yards. His longest one is 20. Jerome Ford now, 5 carries, 75 yards. His longest one, 69 yards, which we just watched. And then Pittsburgh rushing. Najee Harris, 6 carries for 4 yards. This is his longest one is 5. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's a special teams run. I don't know. Jaylen Warren, 4 carries for 9 yards. Wow, I didn't realize Pittsburgh wasn't getting anything together for rushing. But it looked like they kind of were then. So, Cleveland receiving. David Njoku, 3 receptions, 35 yards. Amari Cooper, 3 receptions, 34 yards. Those are the 2 relevant ones as far as I can tell. But team total is 107 yards. And then Pittsburgh receiving. George Pickens, 3 receptions, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. His longest one was 71 yards. We saw that one earlier. Jaylen Warren. Oh, interesting. He's on there for receiving too. 3 receptions for 56 yards. His longest one, 30. Yep, that's the relevant one. So 184 total reception yards there, which Pittsburgh has more than Cleveland for that. But Cleveland has 174 rushing yards total, while Pittsburgh rushing only has 12. Interesting stuff there. Looking at the defensive stats now. Oh, JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, the linebacker that they got, that fell for them in a draft, good prospect. He has a tackle for loss. He's playing in this game somewhere. Pittsburgh defense. Alex Highsmith has 1 tackle for loss. TJ Watt has 1 sack and 2 tackles for loss. Quan Alexander has 1 tackle for loss. Larry Ogunjobi has 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. He's done a lot of notable things in this game. Lavarian Deal, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. So that gives some perspective there. All right, back to the game. Where are we at? 2nd and 10. Pittsburgh has the ball. 9:58 left to go in the third. The C.J. Gardner-Johnson injury news isn't even a top headline on ESPN's NFL homepage. Pitch it. Catch for at least 15 yards to Pickens. First down and more. Down to the 48-yard line. Pickett drops back again, doing his progressions. He's out under pressure now, and he gets sacked by 2 people. Shelby Harris and Maurice Hurst on the co-effort. 11-yard loss on that one. Cleveland's defense is oppressing me, while Pittsburgh's offense continues to disappoint me. Second and 21. Pickett. Pass is caught. Gain of a few yards. Another injury. Player down. Greg Newsome. Their nickel cornerback. I see an ad with Leonardo DiCaprio and then Todd from Breaking Bad, and it's a Martin Scorsese film. So put all that together. Looks Looks like some sort of Western. Killers of the Flower. Got quite an interesting game here. This one's more entertaining, I'd say, than the other games. So I'm glad I'm watching it. I might pay more attention to the AFC North from now on. I get the most invested in either Lions games or other NFC North opponents, as well as other teams I know the Lions will play later in the year. So it's surprising that I did not watch the other game for that reason, because the Lions have to play the Saints and the Panthers. But, this one I had a feeling had my kind of football that entertained me. And so far, I'd say I'm pretty it's been a good game. It's a tight game. It's an unorthodox score, and all sorts of wild stuff is happening in this game. Not to take away from the other game, because I'm sure like a lot of good stuff is happening in there. But, Panthers is Bryce Young, and I guess the Saints have receivers and a quarterback with big plays. I could probably solve more of the rest of this later. I had a hard time trying to describe this to you guys while looking at it from my point of view, like a mirror angle, and trying to do it like backwards from where I'm looking. All right. Greg Newsome's in the medical tent at this point, and it's 3rd and 16. Ball at the Pittsburgh's 41-yard line. Pickett lining up in shotgun. Does his progressions, checks down to Najee Harris, gets 5 yards or so more, down to the crossing the 50, down to like the 47-yard line. But not enough to get the first down, so it'll be 4th down. So, yeah, we got an interesting game here. I see 2 people in the chat. Hello, everybody. Just trying to focus on this game, trying to forget about the breaking news about C.J. Gardner-Johnson being out for the season all of a sudden. The Lions can't catch a break with injuries right now, and it's week 2. But, we just got to persevere. And this game is having its fair share of injuries, slowing down the game. But, we got to let them do their thing, because a football player's health matters. The left guard on the punt team went down on his knee and is like, wait a minute, everybody. Hey, I have an injury here. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of injuries all across the league. A lot of bad luck with a lot of come from behind stuff. Very interesting stuff. Thank you for the likes, guys. I appreciate it. New subscriber, Thomas McMichael. Appreciate the subscription. McMichael. I'll probably subscribe to you later on. I like to subscribe to my subscribers and reward them. So, Sideline Reporter. Okay, that nickel corner is ruled out as Pittsburgh punts it. Blammo time. I got the Browns D on my fantasy team in a less than 1 point difference game last I checked. Good to know. Good to know. It's 19 points. But then again, it would really be like, 12 points? Because Deshaun Watson threw the pick 6 to start the game. So, yeah, I wanted to watch this game so I could check out the Browns' defense because I thought it would be bad because I didn't know anything about the Browns, and I heard it was good, and I wanted to check it out. And I'm really impressed with a lot of what I'm seeing. I at times I was thinking Pittsburgh's offense was just terrible, but I guess Cleveland's defense is really good too. They've had a lot of impressive stops, a lot of impressive coverage from their secondary players too. 2nd and 5, Deshaun Watson scrambling to his right. He's going to run it past. First down and more, goes out of bounds on the side. Deshaun Watson's doing everything he's kind of supposed to with the scrambling and hitting his targets and that sort of stuff. So I don't think he has super big numbers, but he's getting the job done. Nick Chubb was doing a good job until he got carted off. He was on one of my fantasy teams, and that's unfortunate. I'm probably going to have to evaluate that. But I figured the Cleveland Browns, they do that good first step in rebuilding a team by having one of the best offensive lines, one of the best running backs, and that helps set up the other phases of the game, which is what the Detroit Lions were trying to build toward, and that was their identity. All right. Actually, Bills, though. Oh, good to know. Good to know. I had the Lions as a defense on one of my teams, thinking they would have a lot of sacks and turnovers, like interceptions and stuff like that, but none of that has happened lately. So, long season, who knows? Did Amari Cooper catch that? That was a quick pass toward the middle. That was 3rd down, so. At halftime, I try to do what I call raid bait, where I try to do a attention-grabbing gimmick to try to attract a larger YouTube channel to raid me. Today, I did try to explain how I did a Rubik's Cube. I ran out of time before the 3rd quarter started, so it kind of defeats the purpose of doing it, though, because the very first time I tried it, I ate a cheeseburger, and I got raided by Tom Grassi, who was my main target. Oh, that's a first down catch. Tackled out of bounds to Bell. But I succeeded not even a second into halftime while eating the cheeseburger with Tom Grassi rating me. And that's kind of what I really wanted and kind of helped me build my foundation for this channel for NFL stuff. So, whatever gimmicks make the stream and my channel more entertaining for us football fans. I'm primarily a Detroit Lions fan. We're having a rough time with the injuries, not to mention the loss. Watson goes deep toward the end zone. Almost intercepted. Joe Buck couldn't set anybody right through the arms of Wallace. Oof. Deshaun Watson tried to make a statement with that one. But now it's 2nd and 10. The Bills, I watched them last week, and Josh Allen really struggled in that game, but apparently the Bills, it looked like they bounced back, and had a really good game and a good win. So, good for them. Oh, Deshaun Watson is going to run with the ball all around. Forced out of bounds, no gain. Flag, some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct somewhere, I bet. I missed it. I saw a Steeler player fly through the other side of the out-of-bounds area, like toward the stands. People are chirping at each other. Alexander from Steelers and Deshaun Watson, I guess. What happened? Oh, Deshaun Watson, grabbed the face mask of the defender, and he's trying to push him out of the way because of that. And Watson went all the way to the bench. Watson gets the penalty for the unnecessary roughness. So third down. Third quarter, 5:01 to go. All right, I'm going to type a question in here. The first thing I typed in tonight, I want you guys' honest opinion. Last night's Sunday night football game, Dolphins and Patriots, almost put me to sleep, but I was also kind of in deep thought about the Lions' loss last night. But this type of game, Browns and Steelers, is more entertaining for someone like me. Watson across the middle, passes caught, and gains about probably a good 10 or 11. But that's fourth down. Not enough for a first down, so. There's the punt. Goes in the end zone. What a very wonky score with a bunch of 2-point conversion type of plays going on. I'm also fighting the urge of the breaking news of C.J. Gardner-Johnson being out for the season. It was just recently announced. Someone the Lions brought in for 1 year, who would be a big piece and a big contributor to the defense. That's unfortunate, but the Lions have a few good depth players to be able to replace him. So Brian Branch can switch from nickel corner to safety if we need him. And Tracy Walker, who was our main safety, he was out for the year after the Eagles game and after one of those games for an injury. So he might do good for us this year because no teams have any film on him from last year to study him. Oh, Steelers are Najee Harris's first down. 10-plus yards play, first down and more. Okay, Najee Harris impressed me there. Whew. My chair is on like a rightward slant. I knew that when I bought it off Facebook Marketplace, but I don't mind it too much. I was able to fit it in the backseat of my car, and was the criteria. But it's much more comfortable than the metal folding chair that I initially started off with here. 1st and 10. Gives it to the running back. He gets tackled in the back. No, he breaks the tackle. It goes the other way. He's getting the first down and more, down to the 41-yard line. So that was another gain. The Steelers running backs are waking up and doing stuff because they barely had any yards last time I checked the box score of this game. First and 10 at the 42-yard line. Pickett hands it off again. Gain of about 3 yards. I know these magnets are small, but hopefully you get to see them and are able to see what they mean. I just got this thing in the package just a couple of days ago, and I just recently opened up. I wanted to buy something that had fridge magnets on all the teams, but I was hoping they would be bigger, like the size of a cell phone, but instead they're closer to the size of a marker. But you know what? I could work with that in some instances. You probably saw my thumbnail for the game and saw these somewhat. JOK, number 6, linebacker. He did something good. He's a big part of the Browns offense. All right, I see your comment, Blamo time. Tonight's game is more entertaining in my opinion. The throwback Pat's helmet was kind of cool. Yeah, I forgot about that. I love the logo on the field where the Patriots Patriot person was like snapping the ball. I thought that was interesting. As a Bills fan, New England is more tolerable without Brady. Yeah, I imagine so. It's got to be nice. Oh, almost intercepted after bang batted. As a Bills fan, yeah. It's like I feel like the Patriots are one of the best teams defensively. Like they're good at scheming and stuff like that. But just like seeing it all play out just really like bores me. Like not to be offensive with that. Like I know people like Tom Grassi, those people have the same complaint about the San Francisco 49ers, but like the Patriots there, the Dolphins with their offensive scheme, even though I know it's dynamic and that sort of stuff, it's always pass, finesse teams, great passing offense, great scheme defense. And it's an area of football that I don't have as good of an understanding as opposed to like the physical linemen and the rushing stuff doing. And that's probably because during my high school years growing up, like I was mostly an offensive lineman who played on a team that had a lot of running and rushing. So like understanding a trap play or jet sweep play would be more at the convenient time would be more interesting to me than all these like dump down passes and intricate run yard scheming and the clever zone defenses that teams try to play. So, and I thought I would be entertained by Tua and Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa doing a bunch of stuff. And they did. But there was a lot of running in that game too, and a lot of confusions there. I actually predicted the Miami Dolphins to win the division over like teams like the Jets and the Bills, and that's largely because I recognize the fact that today's NFL is dominated by the passing and the wide receivers and that sort of thing. Like the Vikings last year, they handily won the division, and all they had was Jefferson and Kirk Cousins to pass the ball to. And, you know, the Bengals, they had a good wide receiving core and a good quarterback, and that got them to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. So you just got to adapt with the times. I just missed a perfect punt. Bounce, out of bounds at the 1 yard line. Yeah, that would be a perfect punt. We could see a safety here soon, people. What is going on here? 1st and 10 for Cleveland. Ball at their own 1 yard line. 1:11 to go in the third quarter. Watson under center. Watson hands it off. Probably gains about 1 yard there. Smash mouth football is what they call it, and I agree. Like that's because you gotta really get the running game down in order to set up like play action and things like that. I'm a fan of the game kind of from an armchair GM too, trying to build a successful team. And I think Lions GM Brad Holmes is doing it all the right way. So it just so happens that we have a bunch of injuries right now. Watson drops back, dumps it off. Receiver gains about another yard. 25 seconds to go and counting. All right, let me change. Who needs graphics when you have a dry erase board? Am I right? I mean, I can probably figure out the graphics, but this is part of my evolution as a YouTuber to evolve from the fridge magnets and the dry erase boards eventually to high classy graphics and that stuff. That way, when people look back on this and they look at my first ever streaming and stuff like that, it looks so amateurish and casual. Well, because I am a casual Lions fan and I'm not trying to take myself seriously. And then 5 years from now, I will look like a robotic future type of stream. I bet Browns wish they still had Dearness Johnson. Oh, I bet. Honestly, I don't know who that is, but I bet they do. Part of the reason I wanted to watch this game was to learn as much about the Cleveland Browns as I could. So a lot of names that they have that are pretty cool. I didn't know Jim Schwartz was their defensive coordinator until just recently, and I think he's really good at helping defenses improve. Like, he was the head coach for the Lions, and he helped them get to the playoffs for the first time in a while because of the emphasis on the defensive line that he helped with. So, but yeah, they have people like Shelby Miller, Amari Cooper, JOK, Zadarius Smith. So, but they don't have Nick Chubb right now, and that makes me sad for Cleveland. I said before this game that Pittsburgh was my number 2 favorite team, but if Cleveland really impresses me enough tonight, that they would be my number 2 favorite team, and I think it might get to that point. But the big issue being Nick Chubb is out, but other running backs have done a very decent job, like Ford on that 69-yard run that almost got the touchdown. Yeah, I agree. Barry Sanders, class act, great running back. They just recently had an event where they, I guess, unveiled his statue outside of Ford Field, and there was like a ceremony for him at the last Saturday, I think it was. So he's always around. He's always involved with the Lions, helping out wherever he can. He and Calvin Johnson during the first round of the draft. Calvin Johnson actually picked up. He was picking up the first round people, but it was actually in the limo or whatever. Calvin Johnson picked up Jahmyr Gibbs. No, Barry Sanders did pick up Jahmyr Gibbs, actually, and they talked football while Chris Spielman, the special assistant to the owner at this point. Oh, Deshaun Watson, complete pass, first down and more. Mari Cooper gets it, inbounds. And then when Jack Campbell was drafted, he got picked up by Chris Spielman, and they talked football also. So, Lions are building a kind of family-like culture there. Pittsburgh is challenging the field, ruling a field. Oh, I think the second step, his toe might have been out of bounds there. I think Tomlin lost the challenge earlier. No, he didn't lose that because Deshaun Watson fumbled that and Pittsburgh recovered it. Am I thinking of the correct challenge? I don't know. Whew. All right. Blammo time. I'm going to try to ask you some questions that I can think of. Since you are participating in my live stream, I know if you were a general manager, you just got hired for a 3-year contract as a general manager for an NFL team, what would your strategy be to build your team through the draft for the first 3 drafts? There's one that could provide a quality answer. So if you're willing to answer it, great. If not, don't worry about it. So I think what I would do, and I love and respect Brad Holmes for starting off with the trenches and really trying to get the weapons on offense as best as he can, as well as get some pass rushers, and then just kind of fill out with getting tough, gritty football players who will really play really well despite the position. If it was me, I'd probably hire. I'd probably prioritize defense first. The first two drafts, I think I'd go 66% defense throughout the draft, and then 33% offense for those drafts. And then the first year, I'd probably prioritize both offensive and defensive line, like the interiors. Trying to center if I need to, defensive tackle if I need to, edge rusher if I need to, a bell cow running back for sure. And then, try to make sure I help set up the run for offense, and then stop the run for defense and set up that sort of stuff. So that's probably where I start. And the Lions pretty much did that when they first took over with the regime. And then also get good cornerbacks whenever I can. Yeah, definitely. QB, center, running back. Center would be one of the first ones I'd draft if I don't already have a good one. Running back as well, because you got to be able to set up upside the middle, which is what I was trying to describe. But even though most of my players would be like defensive type of players, they're back. Nothing happened. I have the Cleveland Browns winning tonight. I made a primetime preview video, which is what I call it earlier. I tried to evaluate which team had the advantage for offense, defense, special teams, coaches, and then who has the better rookies on rookie contract deals. And then Cleveland checked the mark. I decided Cleveland had the advantage for almost everything except for the rookie contracts category. And then I gave Cleveland the win based on all that logically. So Cleveland, long story short, Cleveland. Oh, that's a deep pass, and that's caught for first down and much more to Amari Cooper. That's a big one. 23-yard catch. But to finish my draft process thought, prioritize defense, get pieces where I need to. Definitely cornerbacks, definitely edge rushers and interior defensive linemen, people where I need them. Safeties and linebackers when I could, but probably lower in the draft. Make sure I have 4 draft picks on the first 2 days at least, and then another 5 on day 3 to be able to do all that. And then probably quarterback. I probably draft wide receiver year 2, because even though I liked establishing the running game, you need a wide receiver to stretch the defense. That way the defense doesn't just line up all their best players to blitz all the time and take away your running game, take away your tight end and forcing them to block. And then I'd probably draft a quarterback maybe year 2 or year 3. But the way I understand it, there's 2 ways to rebuild a team. You start with a quarterback and then build it around the quarterback, or you build the entire rest of the team and then add any quarterback later any quarterback could succeed with the team, which is like what the 49ers did. And then starting with the quarterback is like what the Bengals did. So quarterback, center, running back, old school, got to build a foundation. So I respect that. I respect that. And it's so hard to find a quarterback that you can rely on too and depend on, so. But I think maybe I'd probably want a defensive-minded head coach too, and really prioritize defense, because defense wins championships. And then I want to be able to punt the ball, knowing and trusting my defense to be able to get the stop when they need to. So the problem is, in this day's NFL, offenses are so explosive with wide receivers and dual threat quarterbacks that it's making it harder and harder for defenses to really be effective and make a difference. So. And the Lions are experiencing that firsthand, because they played 2 dual threat quarterbacks and they've been able to move the ball on them whenever they can. So, but they're 1-on-1. Ford gets a first down. Cleveland's moving the ball. They're down to the 30, but there's a flag on the play. I'm going off on a tangent, barely paying attention to this game, but Cleveland has a good offensive line too, and that's helping them move the ball too. Yeah, with all the scoring offense and the offense would be a priority. I agree with that, and I think that's what the Lions are doing right now, prioritizing offense. I think they're trying because Dan Campbell was the assistant head coach under Sean McPayton during the Saints years, right? And they had really high scoring offenses, and I think they're trying to recreate that, which is why they drafted Gibbs to be like the Alvin Kamara type player. So, yeah, a good D wins the game in the end. Yep, definitely. I think the most important thing is you got to build one side of your ball has to be elite, and then the other side has to be just good enough to complement that other side. So, like when Tom Brady went to the Tampa Bay Bucks, he knew the Buccaneers defense was super good. Deshaun Watson still getting pursued. Oh, he pushes him down, and then flag on the play, still scrambling, and then gets within short of the first down. It's probably going to get stiff face mask or something like that. Anyways, what was I saying? Elite, one side of the ball, good enough to complement the Tom Brady example. Buccaneers had a really good defense that year, and Brady just went over there knowing he could probably ride that and do just enough. But the Chiefs, really good offense, but the defense is good, just good enough in certain areas to complement that. So, but as I learned from being a Lions fan from last season, you can have a high scoring offense, but if your defense is worse in the league, then you'll have a really bad start to your year. So, but definitely get good cornerbacks to be able to cover the top receivers, get good edge rushers and to be able to pursue the quarterback and get sacks and get good interior defensive linemen who can help stuff the run. And I think you could start a good defensive foundation there. So good running game also sheds points off the clocks and keeps the defense out fresh and off the field as best you can. Oh, fumble. Pass was caught, and then there was a fumble. They're scrambling, and it looks like Pittsburgh recovered. Offensive tackles are important to draft too, especially left tackle who can block the quarterback's blind side and give him time to be able to do his progressions before scrambling. Yeah, I was surprised to learn about that when I did research on the Bills coaching for a previous primetime video. But yeah, McDermott also being head coach and being the defensive coordinator for them. That's wild. But if it works, credit to them. So I wouldn't put it past them, The former Vikings head coach, Mike Zimmer, I wonder if he'll ever get a coaching job again or if he's too old school, because he's the one I think of in terms of being a defensive-minded coach who prioritizes like the secondary and that sort of stuff. But he was good when they first brought him in, but then he seemed really out of date and figured out and everything by the time he was fired a couple of years ago. Pickett throws it away. 10:29 left to go in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 10. Still in their own backfield. Cleveland is winning by 3 points still. You have a team like a Vikings who brings in Kevin O'Connell, who was part of the Rams Super Bowl championship. He was their offensive coordinator, and he does the same schemes as Cooper Kupp with Jefferson, and then all of a sudden they're super successful last year when they get. But Najee Harris gets nowhere on the run. What's another example of a team that is doing stuff like that? What I'm talking about. The Lions are trying to be like the Saints when they were super successful with having an elite offense with as many pieces as they can. But they have too many players unavailable. The Eagles have a lot of good pieces on their line and a good dual threat quarterback. Whoa, Pickett gets sacked on a blitz. Talkie. Big stop there. Whew, 4th down. Loss of 11 yards there. Stuff like this is why I love Jim Schwartz and stuff he does on defense. Apparently, he lines up like his edge rushers or defensive tackles or whoever so far beyond the tackles that it forces them to have to be so much quicker, and it's so much harder for them. And it stretches out the gaps for linebackers to blitz. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that about Zimmer, so that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. The psychology of such intense situations can do that to people. You would think the Washington Commanders, the way they try to build their team, they'd be more successful, but they just aren't by prioritizing the defensive line and their wide receiver core. Because I think the way they probably see the game is, they want to build a team that can come from behind at any given point in time. And then, to do that, if you're behind, like in the second half, you don't want to run the ball because that would eat the clock because you're behind. So you'd have to pass it, which means you'd have to have a good passing game. And then meanwhile, your defensive line would be the key to help stop the running game, which would, because your opponent is going to run the ball a lot to shed the points or shed time off the clock because they're ahead. So you'd want to stop their run game as best you can. And then the defensive line would do that. So that's what my theory is for what their approach is, but they just have injuries and then they, things haven't worked out for them that way. So that's another thing to consider as well, in my opinion, there. Like, you don't want to, like, once you're behind, then like just have no hope, essentially. But I do think Sam Howell is a good quarterback. And I feel like I'm the only one who's ever said this about Sam Howell because I paid attention to him when I thought the Lions were going to draft him. He didn't have as good of a senior year, but that was largely because, he didn't have an offensive line or wide receiver targets in his final year at North Carolina. But he started the year as like top 2 receiver prospect and dropped all the way down to 5. And it was the first pick in the 5th round. And then nobody talked about him in the NFL, but now he had a really good game. And all right, 1st and 10. Cleveland has the ball on the 9-yard line. Forward goes nowhere. Last night's game ended before 10:30, and I was able to go to bed right after that. And I don't think this game will follow that same trajectory. 2nd and 13. Pittsburgh may get a safety here, and that would add to the wonkiness of the score up here. No, it would make the score more normal looking because it would be 21 points. My dad texted me, so my focus is half distorted here. So 3rd and 13. How clutch are you, Deshaun Watson, with this stuff? Oh, he catches it. 1st down. Elijah Moore. 2nd and 9 at the 20. Watson under center. And he's getting sacked. Fumble. Pittsburgh recovers it. They're 10. Touchdown, Watt. Brings down the quarterback. Recovers the fumble. And touchdown, Pittsburgh. And they have taken the lead. That is the second touchdown the defense has gotten for Pittsburgh defense has impressed me at times tonight, too. Well, someone else brought down Watson, and he fumbled the ball, and Watt picked it up and scooped and scored. So 25-22 at the moment. You could probably kick an extra point, yeah. Whew, we got a ball game tonight, ladies and gents. A healthy TJ Watt makes all the difference for the Steelers. But they are not giving up, and they are grinding, which is what the Lions are trying to strive for. And Pittsburgh is doing that. They're on paper, Cleveland seemed like the better team, like I talked about. But Pittsburgh's grit is showing up in moments like this. Their defense has 2 touchdowns tonight. Sure, no pressure. They're saying TJ Watt is now the all-time sack leader from that. I didn't hear exactly what they said, but it sounds like Watt is making history there. All right. He handed it off, and the running back almost got tackled, but he gets almost to the first down. Almost got tackled for loss there. Yeah, sorry about that with the Browns. I am not going to acknowledge the legal situation of Deshaun Watson. So the way I see it with players who get into trouble like that, once they serve the punishment that society bestows upon them, then that's when I, prefer to drop it. And he did serve the NFL suspension, but all the legal stuff off the field in the courts may be incomplete though still. So, yeah, I don't want it to look like I'm defending Deshaun Watson because I know a lot of people think he's a bad person because of all that alleged stuff. So I'm a former police and courts reporter, and I'm, I got to think people allegedly did stuff and, innocent until proven guilty. But, I get everything. I get the joke. But I'm more curious about if Deshaun Watson's a shell of his former self. First down for the running back. He's reminding me a lot of Geno Smith when I watched him against the Lions yesterday. watching him play. Like he doesn't seem like elite, but you can tell he's a dual threat quarterback kind of. Yeah, good point about Michael Vick. I forgot about that. That seemed like that happened a long time ago. Oh, pass is broken up. Good coverage there. Here's another one for you, Blano time. Which type of quarterback would you prefer? Like a Lamar Jackson type or Anthony Richardson type who can really run and mobile and is decent at passing, or maybe someone like Tom Brady or Jared Goff who is really good at reading the defenses and is accurate at passing and makes good decisions. That type of quarterback, or Drew Brees. Which type of quarterback would you prefer for your team if you were a GM? Yeah, Vic still works for the NFL though, so. Oh, Watson's evading pressure and he eventually gets sacked. Loss of yards there. Third down. Like as far as my question goes, if you think of like last year's, or no, 3 years ago, the NFL draft, before we knew how good or bad these quarterbacks would be, would you prefer like a Zach Wilson or a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance? That's another way to phrase it. Or no, Mac Jones or Trey Lance. Even better. Deshaun Watson goes deep out of bounds. That was 3rd and 13, and it's going to be 4th down. 4:44 left to go. And Pittsburgh's going to get the ball back on a punt. I would say they should rush the ball to eat up time, but the rushing attack hasn't been that sufficient tonight. It kind of picked up later in the game. As far as my answer to that quarterback question, though, if you have a good team around the pocket passing, accurate, good decision, good processing quarterback, then I'd probably go with that. Oof. But I think you need a line and you need weapons for the quarterback before you get the quarterback. But otherwise, I'd probably go with the dual threat-ish type. It'd be nice if you could have like all the above, which is what Patrick Mahomes is, but you don't get that choice too often anymore. Bryce Young might be that, but his size, his height is the factor, though. Yep, I think I would agree with that. But it seems like a lot of the trend is like the dual threat, like mobile quarterbacks, a lot these years. So, and it seems to work against like the Lions defense like more often than you'd like. But that's because the Lions play man to man, and a lot of the times most of the defenders are looking at the person they're covering and not the quarterback. So, which gives the mobile quarterback an advantage, though. But I think for in general success, like accuracy and decision making, I think are the two most important qualities for a quarterback, in my opinion, and those type of things. So like Brady, Drew Brees, like what Jared Goff is trying to do right now. I guess Kirk Cousins could be in that category. I don't see him run too much with the ball. Warren got about 9-yard gain. Yeah, I'd agree with that. So Anthony Richardson is somebody who I thought should have gone back to college for another year to refine himself, but I guess he wanted to take advantage of stuff now. He'll run the ball a lot, and not only that, he's being asked to start right away instead of sitting for a year and learning. So I think he's going to have a lot of growing pains, and I don't think he'll develop as good because of that, unless, of course, he turns to another Lamar Jackson. Who's another example of a mortal quarterback with a not so good arm? Bryce Young, maybe, but he's still kind of developing. CJ Stroud could be mobile if he wants to, but I watched him at Ohio State, and he doesn't really prefer to run with the ball as much unless it's a last resort. He's more of a pocket passer type. Justin Fields, I think that's the perfect example. He can run really well with the ball, but he hasn't shown much skills in terms of passing. I think we found our example right there. It's 4th and 4. Browns use their second timeout. Both defenses have shown up with big plays, but both of them have given up at least 20 points. Well, really, Cleveland's defense has given up what's 26 subtract 14? 12? Cleveland's defense really has just given up like 12 points because Deshaun Watson gave them 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh punts. $2:55 left to go. Yep, I'd agree about Hurts with there. His first year he started off kind of being mostly mobile and physical in that way, and then he really developed as a passer there too. I think Josh Allen could be in that category as well too. He's another running back that you basically have to tackle at full strength, or that quarterback will run you over. So I have Lamar Jackson on my main fantasy team, and he's did pretty well for me lately. So false start kills that play. I was actually thinking about Lamar Jackson the other day, and I was wondering if maybe Lamar Jackson was like overrated because he had that one year that he won the MVP like during the early part of this year, and then it just seems like he's somebody who's like so hyped, but then doesn't turn out to be like a top quarterback. He's injured a year or he's overshadowed by other people, but still talked about in like the top 5 conversation. And of course, the Ravens haven't had much postseason success in recent years, so that probably factors into how much people talk about him as well. But he definitely has one of the most potential. Deshaun Watson dumps it off to somebody wide open, and he gets out of bounds there. Here's another thought-provoking question, and it's which position on defense, Blamo time? I wish Allen had a bit more speed and hate when he starts running. He's fearless. Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that too. He's one quarterback I'd probably trust really well. Here's my other thought-provoking question. What position on defense would you think is the most important in terms of getting wins? Like edge rusher, cornerback, linebacker, safety, interior defensive lineman. What position would you prioritize getting? Like maybe at the first overall pick, no quarterback or no big body wide receivers available, and there's defensive players. Which position do you prioritize? I know I had kind of have a tie for 2 positions, but I'll let you answer first before I say mine. Watson completes a pass first down to the 50-yard line to Elijah Moore. No huddle. Watson's going to scramble with the ball. Gets brought down. Gave him about 3 yards. 2-minute warnings coming up. Every now and then I like to review the box score and just kind of say what kind of stats certain players have. All right, I'll tell you. It's a tie for me. Most important positions on defense: cornerback and edge rusher. to help neutralize the mobile quarterback who tries to get you, as well as put pressure on the quarterback so he can't do passes. Edge rusher is important for that. A lot of Lions fans know that with Hayden Hutchinson and the other edge rushers they have there. Cornerback, I would definitely say, is very important too, because you got to be able to prevent the superstar wide receiver from doing too much damage to your game. And I think having the right cornerback can do that. But that's just my personal opinion. All right, I'm going to review some of their stats at this point in the game. Deshaun Watson, 22 for 38, 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Kenny Pickett, 15 for 30, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jerome Ford, Cleveland rushing, 16 carries, 106 yards. That 69-yard run earlier really helped. Najee Harris now has 10 carries for 43 yards. Amari Cooper has 7 receptions for 90 yards. George Pickens has 4 receptions for 127 yards. I wonder if I started him. I can't remember. But he's really stepping up. Jalen Warren also 4 receptions, 66 yards. Pittsburgh's defense has 5 sacks tonight. So Alex Highsmith has 1. Larry Anjubile has 1. TJ Watt has 1. DeMarvin Leal has 1. Marcus Golden has 1. Yeah, linebackers, they're like kind of like the team captains, them and safeties of the defense. That's definitely a good one there as well. They can definitely help contribute to neutralizing the rushing game. And if you have a good linebacker with sideline to sideline speed, they can help chase down the mobile quarterback as well, which is why I was hoping the Lions would get players that did that. Watson gets rid of the ball, out of bounds. And they did that when they got Jack Campbell and Brian Branch, both of whom have good sideline to sideline speed and good at pursuing runners and tackling them, which is something Detroit needed to get better at. Seattle's a team that would destroy us with that type of stuff, and we did better against them this year, but we didn't do just barely enough to win that. But linebackers, yeah, especially if you have they're good in coverage to help cover the tight ends that go across the middle there, depending on what scheme they're doing, if it's zone or man-to-man, and definitely blitzing too. Watson gets sacked at the 50. But before that, Watson almost got sacked by somebody else. And the play before that, Watson almost got sacked and then squeezed and escaped. Yeah, Michael Parsons. He's very versatile and very, very effective. If the Lions didn't draft Penei Sewell, then I definitely would have said draft Micah Parsons. But I remember distinctly it came out Parsons had some off-the-field issues. And then Dan Campbell at one point said in the media, we don't want any turds here. And I think that was implying Parsons. So otherwise, yeah, definitely get Parsons because the Lions really struggled with linebackers at the time. But I think we're better now. Watson gets rid of the ball, out of bounds. 1 minute left in the game, 4th and 10. So they fail to convert on the 4th down. The Steelers take over. They can just kneel the ball. And I think the Steelers are going to win this game. They got blown out week 1, and they're back at home again, and they come back and get the win. Before I looked into Cleveland stats and Pittsburgh stats, I would have thought Pittsburgh would have won, and then I changed my mind to Cleveland, and now Pittsburgh's grit is proving me wrong. So I think I'll still stick with Pittsburgh as a good team, especially since Cleveland doesn't have Nick Chubb at the moment. Probably going to miss time, though, but Pittsburgh's offense needs a lot of work, but they got just enough done. But their defense, I think, was really, really impressive tonight. Cleveland's defense was good too. Pittsburgh's defense, but yeah, Steelers are gonna win this game. They're persevering. That was Joey Porter Jr. on the coverage. Seeing him do stuff, I know he's good at like deflecting the passes and stuff like that. I'm surprised he dropped all the way to the early second round. Well, thank you for stopping by, Blamel Time. I appreciate the nice stuff. Hopefully I was able to entertain you and inform you as best I can while keeping track of this game. So, thanks again for subscribing, and have a good night. And I'm gonna end this stream. So, thank you for everybody who popped in, and yeah, I think the Steelers are still going to be my second favorite team. I'll call Cleveland my third favorite for now. Both teams really impressed me, but Pittsburgh's grit was good. But their offense, I think, needs improvement still. But I'll call this a night. And till then, go Lions, one pride.